along with us. And so great to, as I mentioned, be doing some coverage again. This is the only league series that we are actually covering here on VirtualRacing.Network for Season 1 of 2022. So I had to go a whole week without broadcasting. I was going through some withdrawals. But we're back at the booth again here today, and it's so great to be back. Unfortunately, we're not getting the typical names up there that we're used to, and while we have a moment here, so far not... see if we can get the points up on the screen. It's kind of like we need to do that before the race is over, otherwise the points aren't really valid. There we go. Sometimes to flip these switches takes a lot, but there you can see it's Graham Bunyan who came into this race in the lead. He did get pole position last week, but did not get the win. And there you can see David Strid, who's on your screen, currently running in second place. This is great news for Strid because Bunyan, even though that's his teammate, Bunyan has now dropped back to 8th place, and he'll really suffer in the points today. So that lead from Bunyan to Strid could close quite dramatically should Strid be able to stay in second, hold down that position. Then you see Howard Livingston there running in third in the points, and Howard would love to stay in the top 3 in the points. Unfortunately, today is a difficult day, but he's still running in 7th, and he's still out there charging on the track, so still an opportunity to perhaps pick up some more points. You see a couple of other drivers worth noting is Jason Lowe, who still continues to hang in that 4th place, but look how tight those points are going from Lowe back to Will Stearns. That's less than 1 race's worth of points. So from 4th all the way back to 11th, that is quite the battle. You see a couple of different drivers are tied for points there. So pretty interesting stuff. Still quite a good championship for a lot of these drivers to compete in. But they're going to need a couple more stumbles like this season from Graham Bunyan in order to be able to catch up overall. Otherwise, it may be the 3rd season in a row that the crown ends up on the head of Graham Bunyan. Back to the live shot, and it's still the same. Up in front, it's Velocity Online Racing's Julian Altena in the number 71 Delara IR18, and they've got to be pretty happy right now, teammates to Julian watching on. Got to be pretty happy to see that VOR car out in front. And of course, Julian looking to claim a victory here on broadcast. That would be something, and something for me to be able to actually interview him as well. I've sat alongside him in the virtual commentary booth at quite a few races this last season for the Prime Meridian Racing League. And now we see Julian Altena heading into the pits for probably not his last stop, and that's what I'm talking about, is he's coming in on lap 17, or with 17 to go, excuse me, and well, now 16 as he crosses the stripe, and I don't think he can stretch it at 16 out there on the track, so he'll probably have to come in for a splash and go at the end. And so Kingsbury takes over the lead again. Now, he came in on lap 17. Let's go ahead and put some of the pit strategy up there so we can take a look at that. And here you can see, unfortunately, Richard Kelbaugh not making much of the race today, dropping out and not getting in a pit stop, and JC Tussey, who joined us for today's race, not continuing any longer. Howard Livingston is now in the pit, so he is continuing, but it looks like perhaps Mike West. Let's see. Yes, in fact, it looks like Mike West is now perhaps out of the car. So The bottom three not in this one, but if you take a look there at how much further Kingsbury was able to go, you know, he's able to go multiple laps further than Strid and Altena. But will it be enough? Can he stretch that tank enough to steal this victory away from Altena and Strid? That is the question. And will Strid or Altena have to make another stop before the end of this one? Can they stretch it? You know, there are a lot of tricks that these drivers can employ. And there you see also the unfortunate bit of Ensch having to come in for a second pit stop and how close they were together. Obviously, that's a big, you know, what, 40, 45 seconds overall that you lose. So he'll be upset about that. How about Mauro Ramirez at the moment, up in 4th spot? So Mauro having a really good race here. And continuing here, putting in great times. Look at his lap times on track. So after that round of pit stops, we'll see whether he can continue to gain and perhaps close in on a podium position for today. But here he comes into the pits. And this will in fact lose him 4th spot to Dan Ensch. But I think he'll hold on to 5th spot when he resumes. So, but back up at the front, it is Matt Kingsbury doing what Kingsburys do, which is to lead races. Of course, Matt and his good brother, my good friend and teammate at Last Lap Motorsports, Ray Kingsbury. Matt and his brother Ray, a lot of history on iRacing and a lot of victories to their names. They've pretty much done it all. Matt used to do a lot of circle track stuff, a lot more in the Cup cars, and now he's pretty much completely out of doing those cars. He's now focusing predominantly on the IndyCar, and even more than that, recently on sports cars, on GT cars, competing in the GT4 class in the MTech series that's run by Majors. And he's doing fantastically. In fact, he won a race not long ago. He gave us a great shout out. Really appreciate that. And he's continuing to have a lot of fun. And over at Last Lap Motorsports, myself and Ray Kingsbury and a couple of other great drivers, Christian Malkarek and Blake Reynolds, and a number of others. I can't name everybody off, but all competing in the GT3 side. We also have a GT4 car in the field, and so they're getting to have fun competing with Matt Kingsbury and his Dirt Esport team. But the Kingsburys have done just about everything on iRacing, including in last, well, I guess it was 2020's iRacing Indy 500 official races. In the same split, Ray Kingsbury taking the Indy 500 top split win, and Matt Kingsbury taking the win in the second split of that particular time. So difficult to explain, but racing at the same time in top split, and then Matt in second split, both of the brothers took victories, and quite an amazing day. And Ray going on to do a lot of great winning this last season in the Elite IndyCar Series, as it's known now, or Indy Elite Series, excuse me, as it's known now. And this season, of course, we're doing a lot more stuff over at Last Lap Motorsports, but great name in iRacing, Matt Kingsbury, and somebody to watch and see what he's going to do next. Where's he going to turn up next? Well, I had no idea he was going to be here today. And here he is leading the race and potentially in position to take the victory. But here's another driver who's come out of nowhere today. So we've got 13 laps to go. He's just 6 seconds back and he's now putting in fast laps. Now, if Matt Kingsbury can continue to hold on to that car, I don't know if he can keep this hard-charging Julian Altena from being able to challenge for victory, but Julian is also going to have to stretch this tank 16 laps, and I don't know that he can do that either. So we may have quite the finish here, as I'm not really sure who can stretch the furthest, but we'll find out. Kingsbury leading and Altena in second. Here's David Strid, now kind of running by himself in third, but if Kingsbury has to hit, he'll probably end up very close to Strid, as they were running pretty close together before Strid's pit stop. Last time by, a 132.50 for Julian Altena, 133.08 for Matt Kingsbury, so the time is not coming down quite fast enough, I don't think, for Altena to overtake on the track. And Strid at the moment is 21 seconds back from Altena, so he won't be a factor unless pit strategy becomes the dominating factor here. But again, that's why we watch on to find out. Running in fourth, here's Dan Ensch. Talked about him a number of times. My teammate over at Last Lap Motorsports, and he runs every week on the ovals, especially trying to, I mean, it's hard to find an exact identity with the IndyCar this year. You know, Dan has been known for his fuel conservation and his ability to keep that car going longer than anybody else out there, but racing for the ALZ.org, Alzheimer's Association, as well as Spark VR. Dan not able to put together a win so far this season. And here, Matt Kingsbury is into the pits. So deciding that he will not probably be able to make it. I think he's just going to take fresh tires and top off that fuel and be underway here momentarily. You see the damaged car of Mike West sitting back there on pit lane. Jump back and see if we can figure out what caused that. This was the last note that we have from him, and straight off and into the corner. You see bits of that straight into the tires. Bits of that car goes flying. Let's take a look at that one more time from on board West here. This is just before it sends you out onto the back straight and just absolutely disintegrates the right front on that car. That is quite the heavy impact. We'll take a look at that perhaps just one more time and see if we can really get a sense of the impact speed there as he heads into the corner and rights off the right front. My goodness. We'll just watch it one more time. We're not missing anything. Let's go back and see it just one more time here as there we are on the nose. Oh my goodness, that is a violent impact. Well, I hope he removed his hands from the steering wheel, because that could be quite the jolt in the cockpit. But there he lies damaged on pit road, and unfortunately that's been a lot of the story for Mike West as well. You know, Mike has taken a win in this league, and he certainly has the talent. He's a former, or not a former, he's a driver from the Northwest, like myself and like Richard Kelbaugh. And he just can't seem to find the consistency to be able to get those top finishes. His win that he got, he was kind of in the right place at the right time, but you know, a lot of times that's where you just got to be each week, you know, running in second, running in third, running in fourth, or whatever. Somebody runs out of fuel in front of you, you're in the catbird seat. So unfortunately, Mike West not quite able to get that together here today, and we'll see if maybe he can return to some form here as we go along with season 13. So with that said, it's time for us to pay some bills here. And we'll go side by side so you don't miss anything. And I mean, I don't know why you'd even want to look on the left side of the screen. Look at this cool thing on the right. What is that little ring? What's that silicone ring going around all of those tools that are attached there to the pegboard? Or actually, that wasn't even pegboard. You could just use a hook for that, but stuck to anything. I mean, look, this is stuck to tile backsplash. These little rings are heavy duty. They're dishwasher safe. They're chemical resistant. They're toxic free. And they come with these other sides to them. And those little plates that you see there on your screen, well, you can use them if you want. But by default, what you do is you slip these little rings around anything that you want that can fit inside of them, and it'll stretch a little bit, and then it's got a magnetic connection on one side of it. So all you got to do is stick it up to your refrigerator, your toolbox, your range hood, anything that you got that is metal will receive that metallic connection and will stick to it. You can stick anything to anything. And they also, as I mentioned, they give you these little pads as well, these circular sticky pads that you can stick on your the inside of your shower, hold up your razor. You can, you can stick anything to anything. Put something on your fence, put something on the inside of your front door. Keep those keys handy. Just keep everything organized. It's 2022. No more excuses. The StickQuik will change the organization of your life and help you out on that road that you need to go down to get your life organized here in 2022. Why be messy anymore? Get the StickQuik now. Go over to StickQuik.com. Don't even think about it. Just go there, buy 1, 2 of these packages, whatever works for you. Buy one for your friends. They will love it. It's a great way to start out the year. And you can get it in multiple different colors. 6 different ones come in size in one pack, so you get a heck of a value. Head on over to stickquick.com if you haven't already. Get in right now before they sell out and you are left out in the cold. You don't want to be left out in the cold. Got enough stuff to think about here in the winter time. So, do you have your StickQuiks yet? If not, what have you been doing? You should have been paying attention during these US IndyCar League broadcasts. We talk about it every week. I'm going to start guilt tripping you now if you don't own them, so get them now. Just kidding. Just kidding. But seriously, I have loved them. I try to find new uses for them all the time. And by the way, I also have been up onto the stickquick.com website, and they've got lots of new use cases. One of the things that I saw is they actually took a photo of a razor with a StickQuik in the shower, and I was like, that is so cool, because once again, keeping that handy and out of the way, and out of they don't make like razor holders for your shower, you know what I mean? So they have lots of great ideas on their website. But back here with 7 laps to go, VirtualRacing.Network's coverage of the US IndyCar League continuing here. Round 5 Daytona Road Course, and it is Julian Altena racing for Velocity Online Racing, who is in the lead and showing quite well here today. A couple of races in the past, it seemed like he woke up a little later or was aware that the US IndyCar League was out there. He's like, oh darn, I forgot, I missed the race. But no problem whatsoever today. I think he circled it on his calendar and he was ready to go. And obviously this is a great time of day for, if you're here in the United States, you're on the East Coast, 10 o'clock in the morning is a pretty favorable time. But of course, if you're over in Europe, it's early afternoon. Great time to get in for a Sunday race for sure. And so definitely we have our share of Europeans and of course Australians who are in the field, a true international series. But it'd be interesting to see if we could see more European drivers here in the field, because like I said, it is very convenient time for them to be racing out here and get in a great Sunday race. So here is Altena having to stop for that final stop and he's only got a 23-second lead. So let's get that track map up there on the screen, and we can follow along. This is going to be a very painful run, as he has to now sit in this tiny confines of his pit box and wait to see whether Matt Kingsbury will eclipse him. And there goes Matt Kingsbury by on the track. That is the difference. Altena still on that speed limiter, can't release it. And finally he can release it. There, he's fallen back almost just over 5 seconds. We'll see where it finalizes at, but he's about 5.3 seconds is that gap now to Matt Kingsbury. And David Strid a full 50 seconds adrift. Well, actually, that's our timing and scoring software having a little hiccup, but 30 seconds adrift as it starts to catch up with Altena and Strid on the track. But Altena on these cold red tires, struggling to bring them up to speed quickly. However, already closing in on that gap. See if we can take a look at that battle for first there. And you can see Kingsbury with that 4.82 second gap to Julian Altena, who has climbed 7 positions from the start. Also, Mauro Ramirez now in the pits. He'll slip down the order. We'll see whether Dan Ensch can possibly make it another lap. But Kingsbury able to get it done in the pits. Able to choose a strategy that has gotten him out in front of Altena, despite Altena's speed. And that is exactly what I was talking about before. It'll be interesting to hear from these drivers post-race. I'm looking forward to this interview. Might get a chance to talk with 2 drivers I don't think I've ever gotten to interview as drivers here on VirtualRacing.Network. It's pretty substantial considering we've covered, I don't even know now, like 80 races. But we'll see whether this one pans out the way that it is shown on the screen, or will we have some last lap fireworks here at Daytona. Anything can happen. That gap is down to 4 seconds now. Kingsbury with 5 pushed passes, and Julian Altena with 4. So very closely matched there. Strid will not be a factor today, back 34 seconds from these two. And again, Strid will be thankful for about 4 or 5 positions difference between himself and Bunyan. So finally get a little bit of breathing room in the points for this week. So here is 2 drivers that know each other very, very well. That's Matt Kingsbury now on the outside of Dan Ensch. Dan taking a very conservative line through the corner and trying to let Matt go by on the outside. Former teammates, Dan Ensch and Kingsbury, still very good friends. Only imagine what those 2 are thinking as we're this late in this race. But Ensch is, despite going down a lap there, Ensch is having, and he had a mistake earlier, Ensch is having a heck of a race. I mean, he's up in 4th place, and we'll see if he, let's see here, he's already made 4 pit stops. He came in on lap 28, which was just 1 lap earlier than Matt Kingsbury, so there's a good chance that he can make it to the end. Now, this was a moment ago. This was Jason Lowe getting word that having a moment there, and he did. Fortunately, he did not ride off the right front on that car like Mike West did. Able to get going again. Go back to that live shot with Kingsbury. Kingsbury now only 3 seconds ahead of Altena. How quickly will this lead chop down? There you can see the drivers on the track at the moment. from the blimp shot. The StickQuik blimp flying overhead here at the Daytona International Speedway. As we have just 3 laps to go. And it's Julian Altena who is actually kind of struggling here. Struggled to get by, I believe it was Dan Ensch. And in fact, yes, you can see there, and Ensch goes out a little wide for the corner. Perhaps Ensch doing a little bit of favorable maneuvering for his former teammate, Matt Kingsbury. But either way, Altena is still the faster of the 2 cars compared to Kingsbury. And Altena only 3 push-to-passes remaining to Kingsbury's 5. So will he be able to do it? Will he be able to close down and possibly get that win away from Kingsbury? That is a great question. And I'll tell you what, knowing both of these drivers personally, you know, there's so much racing that you can do here on the iRacing service. Lots of leagues and lots of series. And of course, we're so proud of what the US IndyCar League does and has done here. It's great, fantastic league. But both of these drivers, you know, you're always looking for your next win. You're always looking to feel good about yourself after a race and feel like, oh, I did it. I got that win. And I know it's been a dry spell for both of these drivers in terms of IndyCar victories recently, even though Altena has been driving very well and getting very good finishes. So I just think both of these drivers are both going to go for this win. They both, you know, I think this would be a proud moment for both of them. Be able to say not only did they get a win in this league, but to be able to do so on a broadcasted race and be able to take a win away from Graham Bunyan or David Strid. And anytime you can be able to do that, that would be a phenomenal thing to do. So Kingsbury continuing here, and he's actually managed to pull out a little bit of time on Altena. Not sure if Altena maybe made a little contact, perhaps, and took a little bit of speed off of the car. But he's 2.8 seconds back, and with 2 laps to go, it's just not going to be quite enough. So we watch that battle box. We watch to see just how much closer Altena can get here on the backstretch, and it's now just about 2.5 seconds. As we can see there, you can watch, and there were several laps where Kingsbury was faster, several sectors where Kingsbury was faster, but certainly Altena hanging there and actually putting in the fastest sector 5, which is the final sector here on the track, putting in this fastest last sector of the race thus far. So purple goes Julian Altena, and how close will this lead get? That is the question. We'll go on board with Altena and see if he can manage to chop into that lead some more. And that's the work that you got to do just up the track there. Gap has grown a little bit, but you can see that green on the wheel and those lights flashing means that Altena is on push to pass. 4 different drivers on push to pass right now. This is his last push to pass, and this is the final lap for Matt Kingsbury. So 3.25 seconds, and Kingsbury burning his final push to pass here on the final lap. Will he be able to take this win? He's just the tri-oval away, and across the start-finish stripe he comes for Dirt Esport. It is Matt Kingsbury taking the win here at the Daytona Road Course for the US IndyCar League. Julian Altena bringing it home, a very fine second place, and David Strigg going to be continuing and still got a little ways to catch up. to get to the leaders, but Matt Kingsbury taking the victory and proving once again that he is in winning form here on the iRacing service. So the first IndyCar win in a league for Matt Kingsbury in some time, pulling off the track, and can't wait to do some donuts as he's already on screen, and he's doing donuts anywhere he can, and there he's exited the car. So not going to try to take it all the way back around. And Julian Altena also continuing. Now he's hopped out of the car. David Strid continuing his car around the track. So fantastic stuff here at the end, as we almost saw Julian Altena reel in Matt Kingsbury. But Matt doing an amazing fuel save strategy and able to pull out quite a bit of time and save a full pit stop over a couple of drivers, able to take the victory here. So we'll get the last of this stuff off of the screen and get our final results up there. And there you go. Now, it's of course never quite official until the league says that it is, and post-race penalties and appeals and all the rest of that. But as official as our timing and scoring shows, it's Matt Kingsbury with the win. Julian Altena second, David Strid in third, Dan Ensch in fourth, Mauro Ramirez. A great debut here on VirtualRacing.Network, bringing it in fifth. Iñigo Mardones in sixth place, Graham Bunyan finishing in seventh, Jason Lowe taking eighth, and Howard Livingston, one of your championship contenders there, only taking ninth place. Not a day that he'll probably savor as this championship winds on. And there you can see the rest of the finishers on your screen. So now we're going to take just a moment and see if we can manage to get some drivers here that want to talk to us. They're probably busy, you know, wiping the sweat off of their brow, catching their breath, and perhaps doing some bio break stuff. But let's see if we can catch another driver. Hey, is that Dan Ensch I see ready to be interviewed? Dan, you got me over there?
Yeah, Trevor, how you doing?
Well, I'm doing just spectacular, my friend. You ended up finishing quite well here. You know, you managed to climb a position from where you started in fifth, and you got the ALZ.org machine up into fourth. So a great finish for you today. Could have even been better, but it looked like you had a little problem in the pits.
Well, yeah, I had a problem trying to catch a bus there. I missed one and went through the cones and banged up my front wing and had to take an extra stop. So that slowed me up a little bit, but they wanted 3.5 seconds back with that mistake. And so I thought, well, heck, if I have to slow down anyway, I might as well just go right in and fix my wing. And that turned out to be a good decision. Ran reds for a whole stint, and that was a bad decision. I probably lost 10 or 15 seconds just trying to hang on to reds for the last 2 laps of the stint. That was just greasy as all get out. So I went back to the alternates and managed to hang in front of Morrow a little bit. Boy, I felt the pressure from Morrow today.
Well, and we of course were watching that battle and watching you climb up in the order and trying to guess where everybody was going to end up at on fuel strategy. Now, was there a problem initially with the fuel situation in the car? Is that why everybody came in so early, or were they just trying to get off of those red tires?
No, there was a problem with the race setup. It only started at 5.6 gallons, and it filled up to 13 once we got pitted. We found that out in practice, so we went ahead and started the race the way it was. So, yeah, that made everybody kind of stop early, and that also led to some fuel strategy later on, and that's how I made it to the end when I did.
Exactly, and not having to pit that extra time kept that position there in fourth place. But of course, as you know, your former teammate Matt Kingsbury also pretty darn good on doing those fuel calculations, and I think he was able to do exactly the same thing, keeping Altena, who is significantly faster than him over the course of the race, behind him just by saving those extra laps and able to stretch that tank out. But interesting that you had those difficulties on the tires here. You've been doing the IndyCar thing on iRacing for quite a long time, and these tires are great. It's fun to have two different compounds, but it's tricky to keep track of which tire is going to be the best for each situation.
Yeah, and it's different in every track, and it's different in every weather condition, and it was a lot warmer today than we thought it would be, a lot warmer than practice, and I think that's why the Reds went away so fast. So it's just like real world. I mean, you got to adjust as things change out on the track, and we do our best. By the way, I wanted to apologize to Matt. The Owls.org machine did not mean to hold him up there in there, but I was fighting Morrow and didn't want to give up a whole lot of ground myself. But he won anyway, so it all worked out.
Definitely worked out. Just happy for you to be able to get a little bit of rewards in this season for fighting it out and playing hard, and that fuel strategy thing of conserving fuel and being on the right side of exactly how many laps you can stretch the tank hasn't panned out in each of these previous races, but maybe we'll start to see a nice reversal of fortune and see that number 52 car climbing up in the points at the end of the season.
Well, you know better than anybody, I'll take a fourth place on a road course any day of the week. That is not my forte, and I am happy right now.
Well, that's great to hear, and great to hear a shine in your voice, a smile in your voice there, Dan Ensch, joining us. First race of 2022, and you already got a top 5 on a road course. We could be looking at good things the rest of the season, Dan.
Well, if nothing else, Happy New Year, man.
Happy New Year to yourself as well, and of course, good luck with the rest of the season. And we'll look forward to seeing you up there in the victory lane sooner or later, Dan.
Thanks, Trevor.
Absolutely my pleasure. Great to have Dan Ensch with us, as always, filling us in on some of the details. It was a little touch and go given the fuel situation in the beginning, so obviously a driver like Dan able to make a call, judgment call there, and be able to potentially, stretch the tank a little bit further than anyone else can. And I'm looking for Matt Kingsbury or Julian Altena to join me here. I don't know. I assume Julian is in the Discord. I'm not sure. I'll make sure that I get him invited if he's not in the Discord. But either way, we'll get a chance to talk to another driver here in just one moment. See that Jason Lowe is just stopping by, so and there we go. I had to send an invite over to Julian Altena. I just realized he's not actually part of the Discord, but we'll get a chance to talk with him in just a second as soon as he decides to join us. But in the meantime, I see that Jason Lowe has stopped by, and hopefully we can talk with him now that he's out of the car. Hey, Jason, you got me?
Yeah, loud and clear, Trevor.
Hey, Jason, normally we come to you at the end, but you were around for an interview, so I thought I'd talk to you. Not your day, man. What happened? I know road courses are not necessarily your favorite thing, but you got some skill on some road courses. What happened today? And I saw you and Graham going off on exactly the same corner. Talk me through what your race was like.
Well, the short answer is I went off on turn 5 on cold tires. I cooked it in there and couldn't get the car rotated and got into the barrier. It wasn't drivable, so I did have to tow. I guess Graham was able to limp his back to the pits. I also saw Mike West have trouble in 5. It's a tricky corner, but other than that, I'm actually pretty happy with the day. I set a competitive race time as far as against the other competitors. I actually set fast time for the race on a road course. I'll be proud of that. My one off in turn 5 was the only incident I had. I didn't drop a wheel anywhere else, so I've got to look towards the positive. Appreciate StickQuik giving us this opportunity to race in front of the people who like to watch us, and appreciate your broadcasting. Next week, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to, I believe it's Milwaukee or New Hampshire, one of the two, and it'll be sponsored by Dan Ensch, the Alzheimer's org car will be the sponsor of that race. So looking forward to that. Congratulations to Matt. Came in here and showed us how it's done. Julian and David, great podium. And thanks everybody who watched.
Absolutely. And thank you as always. Jason running a class show here in the US IndyCar League. Last week, We didn't get coverage of it, but we understand there were some fireworks in Texas. It was pretty exciting. Looking forward maybe to getting back to some oval racing coming up. As you mentioned, next week is going to be Milwaukee, and we're glad that that's going to be presented by the Alzheimer's Association, so we'll get a chance to really talk about them next week. And just that's a great, just while we have a chance to say it, it's so cool that you allow the different drivers and of course other interested sponsors to be able to get that kind of exposure for their favorite charities and the charities that they're working with. That's really a cool thing that you do. And if any other charities are out there that are watching or would like to get that kind of visibility, or other sponsors that are interested in getting involved with the US IndyCar League, you guys are open to that, right? They can send business inquiries to you?
Oh, absolutely. And I believe we'll have a couple additional sponsors for the upcoming season. We've had some people express interest in getting involved, so that's great. And again, Trevor, thanks for the job you do every week, and congratulations to our podium.
My pleasure, Jason. Great having you on, and we'll look forward to seeing the rest of the season. Good luck, bud. So, continuing on here, as you can see on the screen, we've got the season 13 schedule up, and it's going to be quite a fun rest of the season. We'll get a chance to talk a little bit more about that here in just a second, but I would like to welcome our second place finisher who has made it over, and I'm so glad to see his name and get a chance to interview him. In fact, it's Julian Altena. And hey, congratulations, Julian! Fantastic race. I had no idea you were going to race, but man, it sure looked like you were going to win this race. Take me through your whole race. Tell me how it went, and congratulations on your second.
Hello. Yeah. So Jason called me Julian. So yeah, thank you. But yeah, wasn't intending to race, but I had some stuff come up, and it kind of motivated me to do something else. Just needed a distraction, so I came in here, and was a lot of fun. I don't really know what else to say. It was a great race from my side. I started in the back because I didn't want to qualify. I didn't really practice too much as well, so I didn't want to be in the middle of all of this. But yeah, overall just ran my race. I didn't really know the strategy at all, so I just went for it, and turned out that the fuel safe strat at the end was the better one. But still, the pace in the car was amazing. I was really in my zone in the middle of the race, just putting in those really good lap times as well, so that was nice. Tried to chase down Matt at the end there, but just didn't have quite enough. But still really happy with the speed in the car, and yes, it was a surprise as well to even be interviewed here.
Well, it's so cool to get a chance to interview you too. Of course, you did all those races for PMRL, doing commentary together, but both of us actually do drive Indy cars. We don't just do commentary, and it's so cool to see you not only jump into this US IndyCar League. I know you've missed a couple of them that you wanted to get into. It just didn't work out timing-wise, but it was so cool to see your name pop up. And then not only that, but you're in the zone, and like I said, it looked to be almost your race. You were putting in those hot laps. Now, talk to me about how that worked out. Did you assess in your head, given the starting situation with the fuel, did you assess in your head and say, I'm going to go after the more aggressive strategy, I'm just going to try to go as fast as I can and not worry about saving fuel? Or did you think for a second, hey, wait a minute, maybe there's a chance that if I really stretch this one out, I might be able to make it to the end and get on to that fuel save strat?
Yeah, like I said, I really had no idea what the fuel strategy was, if it was even going to be close, because my iRacing calculator was a little bit off as well, because it was giving me 10 or 11 laps in the beginning of the stint, so I knew that was off, so I didn't really know what to do. Because I do have an application for fuel, but I don't really use it, so I didn't have enough, and I just didn't know the numbers. So with the smaller fuel tank at the start, I knew about that, but yeah, I started the race on the blacks because I thought that maybe the prep temperatures would go down towards the end. I don't think they did, so maybe I should have gone to the rest to start the race with, but yeah, for fuel I didn't really know anything at all, so just went for it.
But still, pretty cool when you've got some really good competition. Of course, Matt's done just about everything. Right now he's kicking butt over in the MTech series. We get a chance to race against him driving GT cars, but pretty good competition here with Graham Bunyan, who has quite a bit of experience on road courses. David Strid, who's very skilled and has set the pace here on the road courses in the US IndyCar League. And still, it seemed like you had speed on these regulars, and it must feel pretty good for yourself to just go out there in a race where you didn't even know that you were going to be competing for a couple hours beforehand, but it worked out, and you were not only fast, but you're faster than some of the regulars who do set the pace here. Any chance you'd be joining us for any more of the races here at the US IndyCar League, and what is your racing schedule looking like? Are you competing actively full-time in any series?
Well, I'm competing in my own league, but other than that, not really. I am doing Indy Elite tonight on Steam TV, but I don't really have anything going on leagues-wise apart from those two, because I have quite a busy real life at the moment. So I'm trying to make some races in this league when I can, just try to show up, but pretty going back, by the way. I missed a few races here, and that was partially due because of my reset that I kind of needed, because I was racing quite a bit, so I didn't really race too often in the last few weeks. Just getting back into it now, so yeah.
Well, great way to start off 2022. I mean, with a bang, getting a second place here, nice podium finish. And for those that want to catch you, now I used to race the Indy Elite Series. I was doing that last season. Great league. Operates Sunday nights. For those of you on YouTube, definitely look up the IES. It'll be on Sim TV. So that'll be a great chance to catch up with you and watch you throughout the season. And obviously, good luck. Great talent in that league. But for those of you that want to watch Velocity Online Racing's league, what's the right time and place to catch that?
So, alright, let me go for this now. So all three leagues that we run are on Saturdays, starting with the 2005 series with iRacing at noon Eastern. Then at 6 p.m., that's at 6 p.m. Central European time, by the way. Then at 2 p.m., 8 p.m. European time, we have the IndyCar Euro Series with the IR18, and then later on at 7 p.m. Eastern US time, which is actually on Sunday at 1 in the morning, we have the main series, which is well, our most competitive series that we run. So yeah, you can check that out on VelocityOnlineRacing.com or VelocityR on Twitter. It were the big logos on the side of my car, so that. But about IES as well, I'm actually really excited to make my debut in there, because like you said, I know that field is incredibly talented. So I'm actually a bit nervous as well, even though it's Michigan. It's not the most difficult track. You're tracking more with your head than with talent on ovals, but still, it's going to be really tough to be competitive there, so I'm looking forward to it.
Indeed. Great competition all the way around, and of course, also great to have you here in the US IndyCar League. Any chance that you get to drop in, we more than welcome you, and you're a heck of a competitor and doing a lot of great stuff. For a young man such as yourself, sure wish I had my act together as much as you do at your age. But great to have you with us here, Julian. We'll look forward to talking to you much more in the future, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Good luck tonight. So that is Julian Altena joining us from second place. Fantastic race here for Julian, able to take second and be able to do that in front of some really talented folks in the US IndyCar League. And then, of course, that will lead us to our final interview, and somebody who I know pretty well. And it's so great to get a chance to talk to him on the other side of the interview, not just alongside me as a commentator, but here he is. It's Matt Kingsbury joining us here in the VirtualRacing.Network booth. Hey, Matt, congratulations on your win, and just talk us through what today was like for you. This must have been incredible for you to just jump in and go fast.
Yeah, I saw it was a road course, so I figured I'd give it a shot, and I figured, hey, a little fun, Daytona road course, not a hard track, but not an easy one. And I know Graham was going to be fast. I figured Julian would be pretty quick when I saw him in there. And it turned out to be a pretty good race. I crunched some numbers beforehand, to check if there was any fuel strategy, and I figured to beat Graham, I had to run a fuel strat. Apparently, I didn't need to run the fuel strat, though, to beat him. But ended up, being the difference maker between me and Julian. So it was a dice roll, but it seemed like it worked out.
It completely worked out, and it was really, we were watching at the very end there because he was closing on you and closing and closing and closing. That speed of just, that strategy of just going as fast as you can didn't quite work out. And listening to what Julian was saying, he really wasn't aware of what the fuel numbers were, so he wasn't trying to stretch the tank. From your perspective, you did stretch the tank, you did make it go just long enough. Talk us through what that's like. So you're noticing this, and then what are some of the adjustments that you're making in the car to try to stretch the tank and make sure you can make it to the end?
Yeah, I tried lift and coast at the start for the first stint, and that wasn't saving enough. So I actually switched to fuel map 5 and was lifting and coasting into like all the brake zones. So I was pretty hardcore on the fuel save. I think I was dropping probably 1.25 seconds a lap time wise, maybe even more. I don't know.
That's about what it looked like from our standpoint.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it was the faster strategy, but I knew if I wasn't going to beat Graham, and I figured if he didn't crash, I couldn't tell if he hit the wall or not, that he'd be jumping onto the fuel save strat. So I figured I wanted to be on the same strategy as him. He was pretty far back, and I didn't want to get jumped in the pit lane.
Well, you made the right call multiple times, including deciding to go with the black sidewall tires through the majority of the race. Now, at what point did it become clear to you, or have you been doing enough testing and racing besides this that you knew the reds would not be the favored tire here today?
Oh, I just hate the reds. They don't feel good. They're an awful tire in this game. Like, they're good for like 3 laps, if that, usually, and I don't like even running them. If I had the option, I would just run blacks all day.
And there
faster
you go.
On them, so.
There you go. Pretty simply said. Well, Matt, I mean, it's been a while since we've seen you in the cockpit here of the IR18, but in the meantime, you've been keeping yourself pretty busy over in the MTech series and doing very well, getting some great finishes out of it. Are you still looking to do some league racing? Are you still doing, I mean, I know you're also doing the rallycross as well, but that's kind of in a temporary shutdown between seasons. So are you looking to do more Dallara IR18 IndyCar stuff? Are you coming back to do any more leagues this season that people can follow you?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to be doing NASA. We still have to finish up the last IndyCar race there, the Indy 500K.
That's right.
So
still
got
one
that,
more to go.
On the 12th. And then I know NASA's running another series, touring cars at the TCRs at the British tracks mostly. So we'll be running that, and then RX and GT should start up once that season completes. I think in like early spring. And then obviously MTech, we've been running pretty well. Though I think we're 5th in the points. We had to run the last race basically with one driver. I ran one stint. Because I had COVID and I was like barely able to focus, but we did pretty good. We got 5th, and the biggest thing that hurt us this season was at Coda. We were passing to the lead and we got just dumped in a straightaway by the other car, so that took a big hit on our points. But other than that, I think we've got a good shot at that title, or at least a podium. So
absolutely. And you did take you took the win earlier, one of the first couple of races. You took the win in the class.
Second place.
Second place, that's what it was. So yeah, definitely running great over there in MTech. Any week you could find yourself up there on the podium. It's still pretty cool to find your way back to victory lane here in the in US IndyCar League. And as you mentioned, we'll look forward to seeing if you can take the final win of the season for the RK series. I know it's been difficult sledding there, as there's a lot of really good competition, including your brother. And some of the other Last Lap Motorsports members, but yeah, it's got to feel good though, right? Like you jump in and you take a victory like this. I mean, how are you feeling about your racing at this point? Is this something that you pat yourself on the back and go into 2022 and have an uptick and be looking at good things at the end of this year?
Yeah, we had a rough 2021, so I'm looking forward to a change. Just change my driving style a little bit recently, just to be a little more conservative, because others aren't necessarily as conservative and they don't see it coming sometimes, and it leads to crashes. So I've been just trying to dial it back a little.
Well, hard to do though.
Yeah.
You've kind of gained a intimidator sort of reputation amongst some of the fellow drivers, which can work to your advantage as well. But I know what you're saying. You got to dial it back. They say this when you're golfing as well. You got to dial it back 10% and the ball goes further. And maybe that's the secret to some of these guys' success. They just don't try as hard.
Yeah, I think it can help sometimes. And we've been putting together some good sets for like IndyCar, for example. I think Blake won the last two all-arounds at Richmond and Nashville, and you know, we've been doing pretty good there on the road course side too, putting them up there. So been pretty happy with that, and I think we've been challenging you guys at LLM pretty good. So I've been pretty happy with our growth over the year. So, yeah.
It's got to be tough. I mean, you know, you start your own team, and you got to develop everything yourselves. It's there. You'd be probably the lead developer for your team for setups, and it's just difficult when you know you're going up against other teams that's got multiple drivers that are out there really, you know, trying to grind on those setups every single week. But that's the challenge here in iRacing. Beautiful thing about something like US IndyCar League, though, it's a fixed setup series, so there's none of that to be done. Nevertheless, congratulations. Awesome race here, Matt. And like I said, and like you said, hopefully this is the start to a great 2022 for yourself and your team, Dirt Esports, and of course, all of us as well. So if there's a driver out there who wants to get involved with Dirt Esports and maybe do some Dallara IR18 IndyCar stuff or GT stuff, they can get a hold of you via iRacing or Discord?
Yeah, Discord's probably best. You can find me on the NASA channels pretty easily.
Perfect.
So if you know how to get there, you can find me, or the VirtualRacing.Network one.
Absolutely. And either way, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with Matt, too, if you can't find him. Hey, great to have you here, Matt. Congrats. Good luck for the rest of the season. We're going to see you back here in the US IndyCar League, maybe?
Yeah, I'll probably stop in when I can. I really just fixed ovals are hit or miss for me. I don't really necessarily like running fixed sets. But on road course, you know, it's more skill than set, so I kind of appreciate that.
And absolutely, and you need it to. It just depends. The ovals, maybe you need it to fit your driving style a little bit more, and you only get that option with the open sets. But yes, you've done it, Matt. You've taken victory here from some pretty staunch regulars who really struggled here, and even a hard-charging young man in Julian Altena, who's got a very bright future in racing as well. So we'll look forward to seeing you hopefully in the near future here in the US IndyCar League, and of course finish out the season over there in RK IndyCar. Good luck, man.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So there's Matt Kingsbury joining us here in the victory lane booth, and getting a chance to talk about his victory here at the Daytona International Speedway. A great win for an amazing driver on the iRacing service. He's gotten it done in ovals, in closed top cars. He's gotten it done in GT, he's getting it done in Indy cars and in Rallycross. Is there anything that Matt Kingsbury can't drive to victory? I don't think so. But we'll take one more final look at where we're headed here. Again, next week it's going to be Milwaukee 190, presented as always by StickQuik, but also it will be presented by the Alzheimer's Association. We'll look forward to that. Charlotte coming up afterwards. Atlanta, a couple of D-shapers. California Speedway, Fontana, that should be an interesting high-speed race, as well as Talladega. Not much braking or not much strategy about how to drive that racing line at Talladega, but that should be a lot of fun, seeing all those drafting like we did last season, Kansas, and then of course Indy for our final race for the Care Camps organization. So that's going to do it here today for VirtualRacing.Network's coverage of the US IndyCar League. You've, of course, been watching round 5 of 12 for season 13. 40 laps, the Daytona Road Course Challenge, presented by StickQuik. It's great to have you on board, and make sure to tune in next week, same time, same channel. If you want to get involved with the US IndyCar League, make sure to head down into our description. You'll find a link. You can just click straight through and apply to the league. Talk to Jason Lowe, see if you can get in, and besides that, why don't you go ahead and subscribe if you're not already subscribing to VirtualRacing.Network. Hit that big red button, and you'll be in, and like this video as well. So that's it for me, Trevor Greenfield. We'll see you next week. Until then, bye-bye. Have a great rest of your week.